ESPN's Holiday Hoops, presented by K Jewelers.
School may be out for the winter break, but it's never a holiday inside Cameron. The Crazies are always part of this scene. Another sellout crowd of 9,300 plus here in Durham, North Carolina to see Duke defend the longest non-conference win streak in the nation. K Jewelers presents the Kent State Golden Flashes against the Blue Devils of Duke. Good evening, everybody. Mike Patrick, Lenny Elmore. It's great to have you with us for college basketball. Duke has won 48 straight here against non-conference opponents. The tough part, I think, with all the ACC great teams as they play, keeping your focus.
Well, absolutely. And here during holidays and exams, you just really got to let the players take their exams, get rid of the distractions like shopping and other things, and go out and let them play. And with those 48 games that they've won here against non-conference opponents, Duke hasn't had much of a problem.
How about your star watch tonight?
Well, we got a couple of guys, obviously, to set the tone for their team. Armon Gates for Kent State. He is the brother of All-Pro from San Diego, Antonio Gates, and leading scorer. He'll do what it takes, including making big plays on D. And DeMarcus Nelson, the most consistent player for Duke. This guy has scored early and in bunches, and he's set the tone for Duke's 9-1 start.
Take a look at the starting lineups for both ball clubs, and Quintance is really a big part of this Kent State offense and defense. At 6'7", he gives him some height. Biggest guy in that department. He's coming off of a groin injury, and for Duke, Greg Paulus has got to get the turnovers under control. It's the longest streak in the nation for Mike Krzyzewski.
Mike doesn't seem too worried about it. But again, you're playing a team in Kent State who earlier this season played two ranked teams, Ohio State and as well as Butler, and really were competitive and taking Butler to overtime. So this is a team that has a spark of danger.
And they played pretty well for a long time against Ohio State.
Yeah, they actually out-rebounded Ohio State in their game, and that was obviously without Greg Oden.
Roberts, who leads this team in assists, to Paulus, who does not. He has more turnovers than assists this year, which is remarkable for a point guard, especially only the fourth freshman last year ever to lead the ACC in assists. So much of that was the guys that he played with. Kent State turns it over. That's been a bugaboo for them. DeMarcus Nelson. He's their most athletic player.
And again, the most consistent player. We talked about him setting the tone, and DeMarcus Nelson has done just that. Earlier this season, had 13 consecutive points in the win against Indiana.
Omni Smith, end to end, and Omni Smith, who averages 11.3 points a game, gets the first bucket for the Golden Flashes. Jim Christian in his 5th season. He has won 20 games each of his previous 4 campaigns and has taken to the NCAA tournament, won the conference a year ago, and says the goal of this program is the same every year. Win the conference, get to the NCAA. Anything short of that is a disappointment. Paulus out of the corner, a long rebound brought down by John Shire, the freshman guard. And the shot by Thomas won't fall.
You can see right now Kent State really going to sag down low once the ball gets in the paint.
Beautiful pass inside, and Mike Scott scores off of Quintan's delivery.
And keep an eye on Mike Scott. 6'7", tough matchup because of his size and quickness, can play inside and out. And when he scores in double figures, Kent State is 5-0.
Roberts backing in with a big height advantage and a perfect pass to a wide-open Lance Thomas, who has his first 2.
And Mike, talking to Jim Christian this afternoon at their practice, and one thing he was worried about was whether his team could withstand the first 10 seconds of Duke pressure, knowing that they were going to press them. And if they can get by that and get in their part of the court, they'll be okay.
Mike Krzyzewski, 117 games behind Dean Smith. the all-time leader in victories in the NCAA, and he will be pretty soon chasing Bobby Knight and not Coach Smith for that record.
Well, he's going to have to climb over Coach Smith's record.
Yes, he will. Smith with a left-hand dribble against Paulus, who is a pretty good defender. There's a 5-second call, and Smith telling one of his teammates, "You got to come to me."
Exactly, and that's what caused the 5 seconds. Not so much the defense, because Greg Paulus wasn't really dug in. He was in good position, but the 5-second call was the lack of execution. And that's what Christian emphasized in practice today, emphasizing a high screen and get some ball movement. They didn't get it that time. And again, withstanding the pressure and maintaining the poise is so important for Kent State.
Shire. His first 3 of the night. Shire more of a scorer than he is a pure J.J. Redick kind of shooter. But he's got that range.
Well, he's been averaging about 31 minutes a game, so Mike Krzyzewski trusts the freshman. And he's done some good things out there, including play the point at times when Paulus has been in foul trouble or otherwise ineffective.
Smith taken away. Nice defense by McClure coming in off the bench. Poor pass by Paulus. Telegraphed it. Didn't have a lot on it, and that's the reason he's had a lot of turnovers this year. Duke returns the favor, and McClure comes up with it.
That's 2 bad decisions, one by Paulus and the other looked like by Gates or Smith, whoever handled that ball, couldn't make it out. With the gold jerseys, all I could see was the 5 on the back, but still, you've got to be able to understand where the defense is.
Nelson trying to back in. Roberts was wide open. He passes it off to Shire, and Shire wide open for another 3. He's hit 2 for 2 from long range.
Well, John Shire owns both of these corners so far, and nobody seems to want to venture on his corner.
Duke has the best defense in the ACC so far, giving up 51.6 points a game. And it's a good thing because the offense has been way down. Wide open on the break. Scott couldn't convert.
Boy, the missed opportunities, the turnovers, the open looks for Shire.
3 for 3 for Shire, and the foul on McKee on top of it.
All those things combined, the recipe for disaster.
Kent State has been poor all year long, getting out defending the 3-point shots. And if you give Duke wide open 3s, you're in trouble.
Well, you could see Greg Paulus's eyes became saucers as he saw the wide open John Shire.
Duke on an 11-0 run. Shire has 9 of those. And here's the impact of the freshman this year. This is the youngest Duke team since the World War II era. And Shire now has 10 early points. Lenny, you talked about Kent State surviving those rushes. It wasn't exactly the first minute, but it's the first 4 minutes that's given them problems.
Yeah, no, it's the first 10 seconds of each of their possessions that Jim Christian was worried about, because that's when Duke applies that pressure in their backcourt, and he wanted to make sure that they made good decisions and get into their half court. But they obviously have not stood up to that pressure.
Quintans had a miss. Zubak comes into the ballgame, blocked from behind. Let's see if Quintans will pick up the foul. And he will. His first. Transfer from Jacksonville University, where he was an all-conference player his first 2 years. Duke on a run. They're up 14-4.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K. And in part by the Lexus December to Remember sales event, now through January 2nd.
Back at Cameron Indoor Stadium, where Duke is leading visiting Kent State 14-4. Great start for John Shire, 10 points. In the first 4 minutes and 18 seconds, he's already coming off of a career-high 18 points against George Mason the other day. DeMarcus Nelson also had a career-high against that club. The rest of the team only with 4 points so far.
Well, Duke has been very opportunistic this evening. I mean, the bottom line is that Shire is an excellent catch-and-shoot guy. Duke has forced 4 Kent State turnovers, gotten 8 points off of those turnovers. And the bottom line is they've been finding Shire just all by himself in each of the corners.
Zubek knocks down the free throw.
Not quite the start Jim Christian wanted.
No. And Zubek banks them both. Very good touch from the line for the 7-footer out of Haddonfield, New Jersey. 16-4. Let's see how Kent State responds to this.
And again, Kent State not very big. That's what they have to do. They got to use the Duke aggressiveness on the wings in denial, use it against them, and an excellent backdoor.
Good backdoor cut by Omni Smith for the layup, 16-6. 2 of their 3 field goals have come on layups off of backdoor cuts. Nelson, as they run a little weave outside.
Oh, nice.
I was just going to say the same thing. Made a pretty move and then stumbled right at the end of it and traveled.
Yeah, couldn't get his footing. And Zubek will learn. Right now, being that tall, your center of gravity is very high. It's hard to hold your balance. As he learns to get down a little bit, kind of crouch a little bit with that move and then elevate once he gets in position, that's going to be a tough one to stop.
When he walks around on campus, they're not used to seeing 7-footers at this school. Their centers have been 6'8", 6'9", really power forward kind of guys. And out of the corner, Omni Smith, who only hit 2 out of 11 coming into this ball game, knocks one down, and all of a sudden the lead's down to 7.
Kent State, not a bad three-point shooting team, 35% on the year. They make about 6 per game. They don't necessarily rely on it, but obviously they can hit it.
Shire bumped, and that'll be a foul. That'll be on Mincy. And if you don't know anything about Kent State, out of Ohio Mid-American Conference, Antonio Gates, who is, Lenny told you, Armand, his brother on this club.
So Drew Carey in there. I guess if Cleveland rocks, Kent State rocks.
That's right.
Good hands.
And a foul. Nice job inside as Duke got good perimeter passing, then finally got it into Lance Thomas, and Thomas draws the foul.
Well, on the other end, you're going to take a look at just using the aggressiveness as DeMarcus Nelson cheats on the screen. And there you see the backdoor play nicely executed by Omni Smith.
And that's something that Mike Krzyzewski will not be happy with, because his big guy didn't get out. He gave the passer a free look at everything.
Exactly. And the bottom line is, again, at this point in time, when you're that high on the floor, there's no need to cheat on top of a screen. But, you know, you get aggressive, you want to make steals, you want to deny, and sometimes that happens. But I'll tell you what, I bet it won't happen again.
17-9. Duke by 8 as we approach the 14-minute mark here at Cameron Indoor. Mincy, who is their leading assist man at about 4 a game. Spin move, a basket, and a foul. Chris Singletary, who is probably the most prized recruit they've had in many, many a year at Kent State, hits the bucket and will draw the foul.
And he can draw fouls. Look how solidly built Singletary is. He goes into traffic, still able to square up and get that shot off. And against Duke, when you spread the floor as Kent State has done and many teams have done, you got to have the ability to take people off the bounce and be aware of the mid-range shot. They're not going to let you get all the way in, but you got to be able to take what the defense gives you.
Singletary was going to go to Missouri until Quinn Snyder lost his job there. And it's a huge recruit for Kent State. Sometimes that is a watershed event when they can get a player with that kind of reputation. And this is going to be a foul in backcourt on Lance Thomas, called for a push. That's his second foul.
And again, freshman mistakes. I mean, you know, Thomas too close. Once the possession was gathered, just move away, get down the floor.
Duke, as far as scoring, less than 70 points a game. We're used to seeing Duke first, second, or third in the country, not last in the ACC. Assists, they are 11th out of 12. Turnovers, 11th out of 12. Very unusual numbers for this team.
But thank goodness for defense. Third in the nation in points allowed, obviously first in the ACC, and that's been the saving grace, along with the three-point shot, where Duke came into this game shooting about 43%, 44%.
And they have been brilliant against the three. Shot clock down to 12. Omni Smith with the drive. Shire with the steal. Got ahead of the pack, protected the ball, made the shot, the foul anyway. No, they're going to say it was goaltending, but the ball went in. 12 for Shire. And maybe the biggest game of his young career. Hotsus will come in for Duke off Mike Krzyzewski's bench.
Well, again, trying to throw back off a penetration behind you is a mistake. Shire, Johnny on the spot. And again, you talk about confidence. After the George Mason game, at 18 points, just played terrifically. He's picking up where he left off, and that's what confidence will do for you.
Scott had the three and passed on it. Smith will take it and hit it. He's hit out of both corners now. And Omni Smith, who averages 11 points, has 10. Kent State hanging around, down by 5.
And again, you talk about playing against ranked teams against Ohio State. Kent State only down by 3 at the half.
That's going to be an offensive foul as McClure tried to penetrate maybe one step too far and charges.
Well, again, here's the push. A get back door. Nice job by McClure, but you got to be able to pull up. He wasn't out of control. Had enough time to pull up and maybe take that short mid-range, use the backboard. But David McClure coming back after medical red shirt last year, getting himself back into shape.
McRoberts with the steal. Reach in and a foul. McRoberts very good at handling the ball in the open court. As good as any big man I've seen in a long, long time. Foul was on Mincy reaching in. Coming up next, more hoops. Bragging rights on the line. Missouri against Illinois at 9 o'clock on ESPN. Non-shooting foul. They'll inbound.
It was actually a good foul. Obviously a try. Prevents Duke from scoring easily.
Nice backdoor and another foul. This time it'll be on Isaac Knight, the sophomore out of Detroit. Commits his first personal. Duke has a hole in its roster. Jamal Boykin announced that he was transferring from the program. Sophomore from Los Angeles, and the rumors have him landing at Cal.
Well, you know, I mean, I think it was best for both parties. Obviously, Jamal Boykin, with this freshman class coming in, he was going to play, but maybe not to the level that he would have liked.
That he wanted.
And, you know, it takes, quite honestly, a headache away from Mike Krzyzewski. You don't want unhappy people sitting on your bench. Sure. And Jamal Boykin will get some time because he is a quality player.
And they had nothing but good things to say about him. He's a really good kid. They really wished him well. Blocked by McRoberts. Knight tried to challenge him inside. And a foul as Paulus brings it up.
Josh McRoberts, you know, you've heard his name sparingly this evening. Saw him on the other end with the steal. And here a blocked shot trying to make his presence known. He's got 2 assists, but he's got no field goal attempts. And he's got no rebounds as of this moment. And this is a young man who is supremely talented.
Yeah.
He's a guy, in my mind, that should be dominating games, but for some reason, he just hasn't been able to get into the flow.
Paulus at the line. 1-and-1. He'll get another. Len, when a guy like that, I mean, he leads this team in assists, which is highly unusual for a guy of his size and his skill level. Is he trying to play too much as a team player instead of trying to dominate sometimes, take over himself?
Yeah, and it all depends on the situation, but there are situations when he has to take over. Again, we talk about his ability to handle the ball. He can shoot, you know, from 15 feet in. He's got athleticism, and he can jump over people. He's got to be able to use that and help his team not struggle so much on the offensive end. That's a trip right there. Got away with it.
And it's called a travel, the 7th turnover for the Golden Flashes in 8 minutes and 17 seconds of play. That won't get it done. One of the reasons they're down by 8. 11 minutes, 43 seconds to go. First half of play, 22-14. Number 6 Duke over Kent State. Talking to Mike Krzyzewski a couple of weeks ago. He knows this is not one of his great teams, certainly. And a lot of people are saying number 6 may be a little lofty for this club right now. Off of what I have seen in person and off of what you have seen in person, would you agree with that assessment? I don't think they're as good as number 6 right now.
Yeah, and I would agree. I mean, I think that's a legacy pick right now, legacy poll.
Yeah.
But again, you take a look at so-called mid-majors, and you may want to take this mid out of there because these are schools that have been able to compete with obviously the best in the country. You know, Wichita State, what they've been able to do on the road, what they did to Syracuse, Butler obviously in winning the NIT tip-off. I mean, they've demonstrated that they can more than compete with the so-called major conferences.
And we may find out a little bit more about Duke. They will play Gonzaga coming up before Christmas. And that one's out of bounds to the Golden Flash.
That was good hustle by Quintance. Again, trying to front McRoberts and going after it. And, you know, I'm looking at McRoberts right now, and he's kind of almost on autopilot for right now. He's a young man that obviously we talked about before the break. And again, this is that difficult time, holidays, exams, your focus is taken. He's got to get fired up.
Quintance against McRoberts. Tries to reverse. Nice pass. Good defense by Roberts, but he couldn't stop the layup.
That's good ball movement. And we talked about Kent State. They have the ability to compete. At least for a half, 3/4 of the game, they gave Ohio State all they wanted, and they took Butler to overtime. Butler obviously ranked number 16, Ohio State 3.
McRoberts wide open on that one.
And maybe that's what he needs. He needs his teammates to start looking for him. You know, they give him a look. If he's not there, they've got other guys out there who can score, and they go away from him.
You were one of those guys who told me big men have to demand the ball, weren't you?
Absolutely. You know, he's got to get his hand out there. He's got to set a strong base and say, give it up.
Omni Smith is keeping Kent State in this game, and Mike Krzyzewski is livid that nobody got out on Omni Smith. Lights are bright. Take a look at Mike Krzyzewski's face.
That was
this was during the timeout after the three-point shot by Smith, wide open out of the corner, and these kids are getting the riot act.
Well, again, we talked about it at the beginning of the telecast. Holidays, exams, a lot of distractions. It's really hard to get a team's focus. But I bet they were listening then.
McRoberts, that's what you were talking about.
Exactly.
1 against 2. Go ahead and light him up, big fella. 4 points for McRoberts. This is Smith, who already has 13. He's hit every shot from the floor, including 3 out of 3 three-pointers. Quintance. McRoberts stayed in front of him. Quintance couldn't hit it. This is going to be a foul on McClure. That's 2 on McClure, trying to follow the rebound. The Georgetown game was a big, big ball game for this club. And look at Mike Krzyzewski trying to encourage the crowd to get behind his ball club. Of course, this is what coaches do. He'll probably do something like this later in the ball game. But right now, as you said, he's trying to get their attention again.
Well, yeah, I mean, in the Georgetown game, he was totally for his team, immersed himself in it, and got the crowd to understand his emotion.
Oh, Quintance on the tip follow off the miss by Smith. And all at once, Kent State says, hey, you know, we got a chance to play with these guys.
Quintance trying to use his quickness against McRoberts on the post-up, and once again, instead of looking to score, McRoberts looking to give it up and got himself in trouble.
Would have been a huge bucket there. Instead, Duke basketball, Mike Krzyzewski telling Pauls to push it. He wants them to be aggressive right now. You can tell.
He certainly does. And again, he's putting so much of his emotion. I haven't seen this out of Mike Krzyzewski in a long time. He's got a young team. He's got to find ways to fire him up, and you almost get back to the primal scream when it comes to the young guy. And speaking of the primal,
He's telling Paulus, get up there, quit lollygagging around, and run the offense. Henderson, number 15, setting a screen for DeMarcus Nelson. Got away with it.
That was a travel.
And then a walk on Shire.
Well, you look at Kent State and obviously what they've been able to accomplish, 8 consecutive 20-win seasons. That tells you that, this is a program that prides itself on continuity of excellence. They have a saying, tradition never graduates, and essentially that means when guys are leaving, you still have that tradition of excellence that continues. We know a couple years ago that they were very prominent, went to the Elite Eight.
Nice speed. Quentin is fouled by McRoberts.
And even this team, only one player has scored 20 points in a game this season. So you're talking about balance. That's their strength and weakness. But right now, Quintance, high flyer, a guy who's very athletic, good hands, little penetration in the paint. You better stop the ball and you better find him around the rim.
72% free throw shooter on a team that is a very poor free throw shooting team. Outside of Quintance and Gates, if you took their percentages away, it's 50% for everybody else.
Yeah, they shot 61% in their 3 losses and 72% in their 5 wins. So obviously free throws for them are key.
Closest since it was 7-4. The Golden Flashes have cut the lead to 3. DeMarcus Nelson against the double team. Got the roll. Nice move by DeMarcus Nelson.
And here's where Duke needs to go to DeMarcus Nelson to create some distance between them and Kent State. We talked about Nelson's ability to score in bunches. Again, 13 consecutive points against Indiana early in the game when they needed it.
Julian Sullinger, 34 at 6'4", is a post player. He has done very, very well with Quintance out with a groin injury. Even at 6'4", he battles inside. Duke on top of Kent State, 28-23. Mike Patrick, Len Elmore, glad you could join us from Durham, North Carolina. 7:56 to go. DeMarcus Nelson, good first half, Len.
Well, DeMarcus Nelson, obviously you take a look at his first 2 seasons, marred by injuries to his hand, to his ankles. This season, this is more the DeMarcus Nelson people expected. In fact, DeMarcus Nelson has demonstrated a tendency to score points in bunches. I talked about it before the break. 13 consecutive points against Indiana, 7 points in 53 seconds against Air Force, and even 11 early points against Marquette. But in the Marquette game, after the 11 points, he didn't score but 2 in the second half. And so Duke feeds off of DeMarcus Nelson scoring in bunches, and that's earned him the nickname Firestarter. And it's all over the headlines in the local paper that's what the guys have called him, because he sets the trend offensively.
And he said it's not so much being healthy physically that has changed his game. It's the knowledge that he is healthy physically and able to psychologically play better. Maybe another quick foul on Isaac Knight. That's his 3rd as he went for the rebound.
Number 15 for the Blue Devils.
And you see Kent State obviously questioning that call, and I think what it comes down to is that all Jim Christian is looking for it going on both ends. I mean, when you're fighting for rebounds, officials said that Knight pushed off, and he may have, but there are a lot of bodies banging on the inside. That's a key guy to ultimately lose the fouls, at least for the half.
Dave Revson, 30 and 30 update. Dave?
All right, Mike. Allen Iverson finally dealt today. The disgruntled superstar goes to the Nuggets, where he will team with NBA scoring leader Carmelo Anthony once he returns from his suspension. The Pro Bowl rosters unveiled today as well. LaDainian Tomlinson, one of 9 Chargers named to the AFC squad. NFC headlined by 7 Bears, including linebacker Brian Urlacher. Details, SportsCenter, 11 Eastern, ESPN News, anytime.
All right, Dave, you think Iverson will go to practice a few times out in Denver, Len?
You're talking practice, right? No, I think Allen with that
Just asking.
fresh air, the Rocky Mountain High, new lease on life. Can I think of any others? I really think that is a major addition because he can continue to play the way he wants to play right now, get the Nuggets acclimated to his style, and then Carmelo Anthony, because they, inside out, Carmelo Anthony's got some versatility, he'll be able to adjust.
Is there more than one ball out there, or how are we going to do that?
Well, last night, they had 3 guys scoring 20 points, and of course, one of the smallest guys in the NBA, Earl Boykins, had 27, so they find a way to get it to the open man. I think George Karl has an idea of how he wants to play with those guys. I got a feeling that Allen's going to subscribe to it.
Henderson, the freshman, hits the free throw, and it's 31-23 Duke.
And when you ask about will they have enough balls, since they're going back to the old ball, I think they may have to manufacture a few more.
Wasn't that a bizarre development, the whole thing?
Well, it is, and if you look at the ball down here that the college players are playing with, it looks similar. I'm not positive now, and I would have to go get a chemist to determine it, but that looks like it's synthetic. And these guys don't seem to complain whatsoever.
Smith, who has had a big first half.
No, I'm not saying it's the same ball, but it's a synthetic type of ball is the point.
Quintance has it taken away by DeMarcus Nelson. Nelson trying to go end-to-end, partially blocked. And here comes Singletary back the other way. Singletary tries to go end-to-end, and Quintance is there for the follow. 31-25. Duke seems to be outplaying Kent State, Lenny, but they're only up by 6.
Well, Kent State's doing a lot of little things, and you saw it just there. Quintance trailing on the break. And that's a foul right there. That's a foul by Shire.
It sure was, and they didn't call it at all. And Smith gets the bucket. Shire did everything but knocked the Kent State player down and was not called for a foul. That was unreal.
But in the end, I guess Kent State is pleased that there wasn't a foul call because they got a breakaway.
But Len, I thought that was flagrant almost. That was a crazy non-call. McRoberts trying to back in against the double team. Switch to the right hand. Nice play.
And that's what makes him so talented, his ability to use both hands. He's got a bit of a post-up game right there in a go-to situation. He makes himself available. And if I'm Duke, I'd start to ride Josh McRoberts. And Quintance is the one giving Duke a lot of problems. So the best way to neutralize him is make him play defense, and he's guarding Josh McRoberts.
Paulus just hasn't created much separation as a point guard. Henderson finds an opening down the lane, slashes, missed. McRoberts was there, point blank follow, and couldn't hit it. Here comes Smith, and there's a foul on Paulus.
And quite honestly, I gotta, you don't want to knock the officials too much, but you either let them play or you don't. Now watch, here's Shire again, the block. Look how he's grabbing and holding. You got to call that, but they didn't, and it worked out for Kent State anyway. And Mike wasn't arguing. I don't think Mike was arguing. He was just saying, okay, no call. He was asking guys to come over and wipe up the moisture. But that foul by Paulus, again, we're talking about either let him play or not. That was, a pretty good defensive play. Paulus just a little bit of physical.
I think what Mike Krzyzewski was arguing, at the end, if you're not going to call a foul, it's got to be a travel.
Yeah, well, maybe. He did roll over for sure. You saw the free throw discrepancy, and obviously Kent State's the one with the argument, but I would just like to see these guys play. Both teams playing hard. They're playing, for the most part, relatively clean. And the ticky-tack fouls out on the floor, like what they just called there with Greg Paulus, you got to let that go. Let the guys play.
Smith already with 15 points, only 3 points shy of a season high here in the first half.
And you got John Shire now playing the point. And, he's given them some valuable time there at the point. But what it does, it grabs him away from the offensive end.
It's a Holiday Hoop doubleheader tomorrow night on ESPN2. Number 8, Ohio State. Number 3, Oklahoma. The women take the court. Then at 9, the men, Arkansas and Texas. Holiday Hoops presented by K Jewelers.
Nice pass.
Beautiful pass and 15 points, make it 17 points for Omni Smith. And it's 33-29, hello.
Yeah, Omni Smith seems to be omnipresent out there on the floor.
He certainly is. Potsus was wide open. Shire will take it himself because he was wide open. And Shire has 15. You may be seeing a coming-out party at home for Shire tonight.
Well, I talked about him playing the point that might take him out of the offense, but again, good ball movement will get him back in. And Duke very patient and found him because he's a valuable offensive asset out there, not to be wasted by trying to distribute the ball.
Another nice feed. Quintance scores from Omni Smith. Nice two-man attack they put up tonight.
Well, both teams demonstrating a great deal of unselfishness right now, playing as a team.
Dangerous pass. Shire was open. Oates is wide open. He misses. Rebounded Gates. 3-on-2 break.
Well, even though the missed layup, no contact there, nice job by Shire to take away the lane and force the driver to step to the side. And that's really what created the miss. That was as good as a block.
Turned out that way, didn't it? Foul called on the baseline. DeMarcus Nelson will go to the line when we come back, 36-31. All right, thank you, Dave. No TO news today. Good day. It's a good day. Speaking of a good day, if you're a Kent State fan, you're within 5 with 3:32 to go at Duke.
And you take a look at both teams, obviously distributing the ball, hitting the open man. This guy right here, Hyman Quintance, just doing an excellent job on both ends of the floor, not only scoring the ball, rebounding, but also distributing as well from the high post.
Played his first 2 years of college ball at Jacksonville University, was a two-time all-conference player, transferred and sat out last year. Good addition for them, 6'7", 195, but even read thin like that, he's a good rebounder. Nelson hits a free throw, 37-31, 5 points for DeMarcus Nelson. Shire has carried the scoring load with 15 points. Another backdoor cut layup, good by Smith, and he's fouled. 19 points for Omni Smith. That's a season high, and he's got it in less than 17 minutes.
Well, again, he just looked using the high screen, and that's just a blind pass right there. You know, threw it before the receiver broke open, knowing that he was going to be there.
Smith will try to make it a three-point play. McRoberts with a rebound. 37-33. Number 6 Duke with a 4-point lead. Shire stays in at the point guard. Got to drive Paulus nuts that he's unable to stay on the floor. Shire. That pass out of bounds. That's 9 turnovers against Duke, and Paulus cheerleading for his teammate. They really don't want to play Shire at point guard, only in emergencies. And this doesn't qualify as one, I don't think. Reach-in foul again. That's 3 on Lance Thomas. And all these guys were ball handlers extraordinaire. Johnny Dawkins, even as a great scorer, could really handle it. Collins was good. Krzyzewski himself was a point guard at Duke, and Wojciechowski was a brilliant point guard. Scott got the free throw. The 6'7" junior from Indianapolis has 5, and they have cut the lead to 3 points, so Thomas has to sit down at the 2:51 mark of the first half with those 3 fouls. Scott makes them both. The lead is only a bucket.
Kent State now playing a little bit of zone, changing up on Duke. Trying to disrupt the rhythm.
Dangerous bounce pass. That had almost no chance for McClure getting through the traffic. Kent State can tie or take the lead on this trip.
That was a good call by Jim Christian to go to that zone at that point in time to try to disrupt the rhythm, knowing that Duke was very anxious in that particular possession.
McRoberts got out and knocked it away. Duke making the mistakes of youth again.
Number 5, Omni Smith returns for the Golden Flashes.
Smith is back in and Mincy is out. 6 freshmen, 6 sophomores, only 1 junior, 1 senior. Nice screen. Nice feed. Quintance had it blocked. The follow, Singletary, got it back, put it up again. Good defensive stand by Duke, and Henderson comes out with a rebound to McRoberts. McRoberts, good job to pull up and not force it, but then he couldn't hit the shot.
But he used that backboard. It's your best friend that close in the paint.
Smith having the game of his life and called for Palm.
Sometimes those are the ones that are momentum breakers.
10 turnovers against Kent State.
And you see the disappointment of Jim Christian right there.
Now you have to wonder how many times that will be called. I'm not saying it wasn't a palm. I'm just saying there are other palms that don't get called. Quintance pulls up, wide open, Singletary. Got it! And Kent State has taken the lead at Duke.
How did that guy get infiltrate the crazies?
I don't know, but I hope he's fast.
Now you talk about patience, you talk about ball movement, and pretty good defense here. The changing of defenses seems to have stymied Duke. That's one way to bust the zone, but Shire can't even connect.
Shire can't hit it. Bodies fly. And the tie-up will have to go to the possession arrow, which is on this side of the court, so we can't see it, and it will go to Kent State. 48 straight against non-conference teams here at Cameron Indoor Stadium. It's on the line. And Kent State leads by 1.
College basketball alive and well. They're not going to get a shot. And here they come. He's feeling it. He's burning down the nets. What a motion. At the buzzer. For the lead. Got it. What a game. That's incredible. Game over. What a play. What a play. Look at this.
Gonzaga and Duke on Thursday. Duke has its hands full right now with Kent State. Quintance, not a bad first half, Lenny. 8 points, 7 assists. Smith on the receiving end of a lot of those assists, having a brilliant night. 19 points, a season high already. And the Golden Flashes didn't come in here just for the visit to historic Cameron Indoor. 5-second count. Poachers, good defense.
Again, inability to execute and get a guy open away from the ball so that the passer doesn't get hung up. It's been a problem, a couple of turnovers like that for Kent State throughout this game, but I think Jim Christian will take where he is right now, hopeful to rectify that in the second half.
Paulus is back in at the point, and Duke spreads the floor with the shot clock off.
Nice look.
Shire, great feed to McRoberts. His jam puts Duke ahead. And Duke, when they have to, executes very, very well to get the bucket that puts them back on top. Smith with 19, Shire with 15.
Again, John Shire, a catch-and-shoot guy. Everybody pays attention to him after burning him in the corner, and he finds his big man down low. Excellent team play.
Halftime score 39-38. Let's join Dave Rebson in the studio with the K Jewelers halftime report. We're at halftime at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Duke with a 1-point lead over Kent State, 39-38. Mike Patrick, Len Elmore, great to have you with us. Duke showed us in the first half what their vulnerabilities are.
Well, they certainly are. And again, it's the ability of Kent State to be able to take them off the bounce, hit the mid-range, but also spread the floor and get some back doors. Let me correct one thing. At the beginning of the telecast, I said that Armand and Antonio Gates are related. Well, they both went to Kent State. They both have athleticism, but they're not brothers. You know, a little bad information to me, and my apologies to the Gates family, but I'll tell you what, I'm sure they'd like to be.
Yeah, I'm sure they would too. I'm sure they'd make for a great reunion, wouldn't it? Let's go inside the game. What do you have?
Well, again, you're going to talk about the ability of John Shire to get open looks. And what it comes down to is the ability, we take the SAP inside the play, the ability of just moving the ball, getting Kent State bunched up in the middle. And then on the other side, Hyman Quintance doing an excellent job of reading the Duke defense like a quarterback, checking off, finding his options, and right there delivering the ball on the money, even blindly, as the receiver wasn't even there, but he's delivering it right where it needs to be.
Quintance, the center, with 7 assists in the first half. Paulus opens the second half at the point. 2 assists, 1 turnover in the first half for Paulus. He has struggled mightily at point guard this year. McRoberts, wide open Shire, passes on the wide open shot.
Nice.
McRoberts, excellent ball movement. They just kept going until they had a layup from McClure.
And if you're
3 assists from McRoberts, Lenny.
And Mike, you know we've been here often enough for teams like Kent State playing Duke. Even if you had some success in the first half, the first 5 minutes of this ball game will determine whether you stay in the ball game.
Quintance had it blocked by McRoberts. Nice head fake and a follow inside by Singletary. And Duke's lead cut to 1 again. Mike Krzyzewski said these kids are so young and so inexperienced with this offense. He really wants them in front of him for the second half, and that's what he has right now. So he can call out instructions, and they're not so much on their own. DeMarcus Nelson drains one from long range.
And Duke hoping that DeMarcus Nelson lives up to that new nickname, Firestarter. Again, the ability to score in bunches. And you got to test him out right away to see if he's hot.
Well, it's been a flinty performance so far, hasn't it?
So far, there's been some sparks, but they haven't gotten the flame going yet.
We'll stop now. Oh, what a pass by McRoberts, and then Nelson missed the layup. Oh, what a pass.
And DeMarcus Nelson, athletic enough to be able to dunk that ball. I'm sure if he had it to do over again, he would flush it.
McRoberts can be scary good. Quintance, not bad either. Pull-up jump shot to cut it back to 2. Quintance, 10.7 assists. Paulus can't get through the double team and picked up his dribble. Wide open jump shot from McClure.
I'll tell you, we talk about Greg Paulus, and sometimes we're critical of him, but that time he demonstrated his experience being able to calmly take the double team and then read the open man. And that's what you need in a point guard, knowing that he's going to be pressured at times. Got to find open people.
Gates. And Kent State not going away. Gates with his first 2, and the lead is back to 2. Paulus guarded by Smith. McRoberts wheels in and draws the foul on Quintance. That's only 2 on the 6'7" junior. And obviously, if he's going to go man-to-man against McRoberts, they have to keep him out of foul trouble.
Josh McRoberts playing up to his capability right now. 8 points, 4 blocks in the first half. And he's got to be a go-to guy on the blocks for Duke.
It's the first free throw. Coming up next, more hoops. Bragging rights on the line, Missouri and Illinois. That game scheduled to start at 9 next on ESPN. Speaking of 9, that's what McRoberts has right now. He's averaging 11 points a ball game. Missed the second free throw. The lead is 3. Mincy, pretty good ball handler. Pull-up jump shot. Now Gates can get going. Excuse me, Mike Scott. Scott averaging almost 11 points a game. We're trying to get it to McRoberts, and that ball is kicked over. This recycle the shot clock.
Number 4, Agent Knight returns to the lineup.
An interesting substitution right now. Knight for Quintance. Quintance doing a decent job down on the low blocks against Josh McRoberts. Learning how to push him off the block and then try to get around in front. See if Knight can probably do the same thing.
McRoberts picked up his dribble, goes back to DeMarcus Nelson. He tries to get through a double team and draws a foul. And that will be on Mincy, his 3rd. Star Watch update. Gates, 2 points, 5 boards. Nelson, 8 points and 3 boards. You would think DeMarcus Nelson would win that statistical battle easily.
Yeah, but Gates has been picked up by Omni Smith. Omni Smith, 19 points in the first half.
McRoberts tried to save it and couldn't. 12 Duke turnovers. Omni Smith, the senior from Chicago, second leading scorer on this ball club. He has had a career game in the first half tonight, a season high 19 points. Has yet to score here in the second. Will he get this one? He does.
Oh, man.
22 for Omni Smith, and Kent State's up by a bucket. Showed you some range, showed you some touch. Duke obviously trying to concentrate on getting the ball to McRoberts. That inside-out game that has always worked so well for them. And Paulus with a wide-open jumper. Well, you can see the difference in the offense in front of Mike Krzyzewski and his coaching staff.
Oh, absolutely, and McRoberts has been the trigger man. He knows he's getting double-teamed, and he's able to turn and face the defense and pick out the open guy.
Smith going against Shire. Acrobatic shot at the baseline. Omni Smith is feeling it. He has 24. That matches his career high.
You know, he's been a big game player against Butler in the overtime loss. The Butler had 18 points. That was his previous career high.
Shire had it knocked away. McRoberts with the save. That's a great interception inside by Mike Scott. Very quick hands.
Look at that athleticism.
Mike Scott nearly got the follow, didn't he?
He certainly did. Avoided the contact with Nelson, almost got it, but DeMarcus Nelson, again, strong with the ball off the glass.
McClure wide open for a second, then he kicked it back outside.
There's the double right there. Mike Scott trying to help on McRoberts if he gets in the paint.
McRoberts left all alone, off the glass, and it's an air ball. Clanked that one off the glass. That's a tough, tough pass. Good defense and great hustle by McRoberts. DeMarcus Nelson, 1 against 2, pulls it back. Boy, McRoberts shows you that flash every once in a while.
Well, he's showing the fire, and let's harken back to the first half when Mike Krzyzewski lit into his team. And all of a sudden, guys came out with a different identity.
DeMarcus Nelson wide open for 3.
Not to take anything away from Kent State, who just will not go away and obviously has the lead right now. But, you know, Duke players just seem to be more animated. Whether it's too little, too late, we'll see.
Smith is thinking, I want the ball. Another three? No. Paulus trying to push it. 2 on 5, thinks better of it. McClure just inside the three-point line. He can't hit it. Shire kept it alive. Good job by the guard. McClure backs out. Shire will take the three. Over the backboard out to Kent State. Omni Smith with the game of his life. He's hit 10 out of 13, including 4 out of 6 from long range. He's trying to pull an upset for the Golden Flashes. This was in the first half. Mike Krzyzewski's reaction after an uncontested three-point shot by Kent State. You don't see this very often, but then you don't see Duke allow wide-open shots very often either.
Or allow infiltrators among the crazies.
Yeah.
But again, great coaches have that sense of when the game is going to be tough and when his team's heads are not in it. And he recognizes that sometimes you have to pat them on the rump, but other times you have to get in their faces.
He didn't win 762 games by accident. Paulus trying to get away from Mincy. Mincy, nice steal, knocks it away. Can they save it? Yes. Quinton's got it back, and Mincy put it in. What a play by Mincy. What a play. And that's the biggest lead for the Golden Flashes tonight.
And how about the save by Quinton? A lot of people don't realize, transfer from Jacksonville University, 2-time All-Atlantic Sun Conference and Freshman of the Year. He's quite a player.
Nick Roberts, good job to pull up, but he didn't get the roll. And Quinton's with another loose ball. Gives it to Mincy. You can see Kent State's confidence growing with every possession. Smith has got enough confidence for everybody. He's fouled by Henderson.
And you talk about desire. You know, this is a team, Kent State, on a mission. They know the 48 consecutive non-conference wins here in Cameron. They want to be the ones to break it. And you talk about playing with some passion and emotion. You know, you're right, Mike. This is a team that can feel it right now. Question is whether they can execute down the stretch, continue this pace and this level of intensity.
We've got to go back 6 years to find the last time Duke losing to a non-conference opponent. It was St. John's all the way back in 2000.
February 26th, to be exact.
Quintance, little over-dribbling by everybody on that possession. McRoberts kicks it back out to McClure. You can tell McClure doesn't want to take that shot outside. Henderson will, and miss, knocked out of bounds off of Kent State to Duke. Duke laying a few bricks in the second half, and it's costing them. Quintance, what a night. 10 assists from the 6'7" junior.
Holiday Hoops presented by Kay Jewelers rolls on. Warren Carter getting set to lead Illinois against Mizzou. Bragging rights on the line. Illini 6 straight wins in this series. That's next, Mike.
Yes, there are Kent State fans at Cameron Indoor, and they are having some fun. 53-50 over number 6 Duke. They've earned the lead, believe me.
They played strong defense. They forced turnovers and taking advantage of those opportunities. Duke, as well as they're playing, still bitten by the same problem. They've got more turnovers than assists.
Singletary into the lane, double pump, had it blocked. Tipped outside, here comes Shire. Knocked away, contact, no foul, and the Duke bench really upset. They wanted a call there. And it looked like Shire really got hacked on the arm.
We'll have a chance to see right now. Yeah, it looked like across the wrist, no question about it. I know that hurts.
That one's hard to miss. Yes, well, apparently not. Lob into the lane, knocked away, and Duke's just been really sloppy with it. Quintance wouldn't fall for him. Henderson with a rebound for Duke. That would have been a huge bucket. That would have put him up by 5 and increased the momentum.
But if you're Jim Christian and the Kent State Brain Trust, you keep urging your guys to continue to fight. But there's DeMarcus Nelson again. It comes down to the fact of whether or not he can sustain a little momentum offensively. He's the leader of this team, and Duke truly needs him to step up.
Lenny, that was the first Duke field goal in 5 minutes, and that pass went right to McRoberts. Shire wide open for the lead, no. McRoberts with the tip, no. Smith back the other way to Gates.
And that's the guy whose hands you want the ball. He's been terrific passing, making good decisions for the most part.
Quintance, but the follow is good. Singletary, the freshman from Chicago, has 9. The lead is back to 3.
And even though Quintance missed that shot, good decision to go to the basket. He had an open lane and offensive rebound work.
He got inside McRoberts. That is a 2-point shot by DeMarcus Nelson. Had a toe on the line. He has a dozen. And DeMarcus Nelson has proven himself to be one of the guys that wants the ball with a game on the line. It's on the line right now. So many great players have performed in this building, Cameron Indoor Stadium, in the last 4 years. A couple of them cast a giant shadow over the program. J.J. and Sheldon, both All-Americans. Fixtures for the Blue Devils. They put up All-American numbers. And their performance was one of the reasons that Greg Paulus became only the 4th freshman ever to lead the ACC in assists. They're gone, and this year he has more turnovers than assists coming into this game.
Well, 56% of Greg Paulus's assists last year were to either Reddick or to Williams. Doesn't have that luxury this year.
The Duke defense has to step up right now because Kent State with a lead. A miss and an offensive rebound by Scott, but he had the follow block. DeMarcus Nelson running that weave outside. McClure was open. Now it's Paulus. Got it!
But once again, it begins with a good defense. The block by McRoberts. And Duke capitalizing on the possession with excellent ball movement. And this is where young teams learn how to win.
Smith lost it out of bounds. Last touch by Duke. Dave Revson has the 30 at 30 for us. Dave.
Sure do, Mike. Allen Iverson finally traded today. The disgruntled superstar goes to the Nuggets, where he will team with NBA scoring leader Carmelo Anthony once Anthony returns from his suspension. Pro Bowl rosters also unveiled today. LaDainian Tomlinson, one of 9 Chargers, named to the AFC squad. The NFC headlined by 7 Bears, including linebacker Ryan Urlacher. Details, SportsCenter, 11 Eastern, ESPN News, anytime.
Thank you, Dave. Tied at 57 here with 8 minutes and 39 seconds to go. They're paying a lot of attention to DeMarcus Nelson, trying to double-team him every time he goes around a screen.
And this is what I mean when this is the time for young teams to grow up and learn how to win. Pressurized situation. You know, they know who their go-to guys are. They know how to attack when the opportunity is there. But most importantly, they hold their poise and they execute.
Paulus was very fortunate. They got a foul call in the play. He got himself in trouble as he drove into the lane. Knight picked up the foul. 48 straight wins against non-conference opponents for Duke. That streak on the line right now as they're tied at 57. More than that, it's a huge game for the Golden Flashes as they come in here. Shire was open. McClure with a rebound. He's fouled. That's great hustle to get the offensive rebound.
In a gritty game like this, it's all about the little things. And David McClure, recognizing Shire about to shoot, got himself on the weak side of the glass. It's such an art, offensive rebounding, because it's not only about movement, but it's also about understanding who's going to shoot it, when they're going to shoot it, and where the ball may come off.
with a right-handed score. Duke by a bucket. Roberts now has 11.
And as they say, youth will be served, but before youth can be served, you got to serve the youth. You got to get the ball inside to McRoberts.
McRoberts with a rebound.
Now he's establishing himself right now, making the big plays, the blocks, the rebounds, and
this. Quinton stepped in. What is it? A block. McRoberts saw the opening, and he can handle it well enough to go right down the lane and try to score. Timeout. Duke by a bucket.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K. And in part by the LeBrons and NikeBasketball.com.
JC transfer Stefan Hanna making a huge impact on both ends for Mizzou. Tigers getting set to unleash their 40 minutes of hell on rival Illinois.
I don't know if you could call her crazy yet. She's too give her some time.
but she's crazy about her Blue Devil. Oh, yeah.
He sneak in.
I think you made a wrong turn in 15.501.
This is just bad decision making on some people's parts. McRoberts missed the free throw. He's in with 11 tonight.
Well, you know, you talk about Josh McRoberts, his ability to dominate a game, and you look there, it doesn't always have to show up in points. And the one thing that, you know, Duke wants to laud him about is being versatile, and absolutely he has demonstrated his versatility. But there comes a point in time when the two things that are necessary, rebounding, defense, and you add a little bit of scoring. This is what they need from him down the stretch.
He's against Quintance, and Quintance called for palming the ball, trying to do too much one-on-one against McRoberts, perhaps. And that's the 16th turnover. It's the stage of the game they can't afford it.
Well, again, we talk about learning and understanding how to win, and that may separate the winner from the loser in this game, the ability to execute.
So Paulus nearly caught in the trap.
Especially when you're down. Duke has demonstrated they can do that, coming from behind to take a three-point lead. Let's see if Kent State can make some stops and execute on the offensive end.
Shot clock at 10. Nobody getting any kind of penetration. Now McRoberts, it's up to him.
You got to run at him right now. Make him give it up. Otherwise, Quintance is naked.
13-footer. Duke on a 10-2 run. The lead is up to 5. Now it's crunch time for the Golden Flashes.
We talked about Kent State's competitiveness, taking Butler to overtime, you know, playing Ohio State tough for a little more than a half.
McRoberts called for that foul against Quintance.
Now look, Quintance all by himself, no help. Josh McRoberts has got it going. Kent State needs to know that. They need to send somebody to him. Even though McRoberts is an excellent passer, we talked about him with 4 assists. Make somebody else beat you.
That was only the second team foul against Duke. Smith has been very quiet lately. Hasn't had a bucket since the 15:21 mark. 9-minute drought for a guy who was having the game of his life. Shire's on him right now. The senior can't get by it.
Nice job by Shire to stay on his feet, not go for the pump fake.
Mincy, good feet inside to give Scott a shot at it, and Scott will draw a foul.
You know, Shire at 6'5", Smith listed at 6'3", but that might be a little bit generous, but it was his size on that last play and his discipline on defense that had him stay on the floor.
First foul was on DeMarcus Nelson. Holiday Hoops doubleheader coming up tomorrow night on ESPN2 at 7 Eastern. Number 8 Ohio State and number 3 Oklahoma women will take the court. Then at 9, the men, Arkansas and Texas face off. Holiday Hoops presented by K Jewelers on ESPN2 tomorrow. Big free throws here Scott only a 63% shooter. This is not a good free throw shooting team outside of Armand Gates, who is perfect from the line this year. The rest of them a pretty meager group. 2 opportunities go by the boards right there. Those will kill you, Lenny.
Oh, absolutely will. Again, we talked about execution. Execution includes taking advantage of the free opportunity. Penn State now going back to the zone, recognizing man-to-man, they're outmanned, particularly inside with McRoberts getting it going.
DeMarcus Nelson open for 3. Huge shot for DeMarcus Nelson. He has 15, and Duke all at once up by 8 points. Jim Christian says, I need to talk about this before it gets totally out of hand.
Well, again, you're just going to take a look at just good decision. I mean, DeMarcus Nelson right here, down low, nobody against the zone. Then they come out on him too late. You got to locate the shooters. Duke does a nice job of spacing right there. Look how far the defender has to run in that zone. They're so concerned about McRoberts inside the paint that the zone collapses. And then a good ball movement gets the wide open shot.
It's been an Achilles heel for them all year long. Our PlayStation 2 game track, Kent State still shooting almost 50%. Smith has matched his career highs. Duke now 9 steals, 9 blocks, and McRoberts' numbers starting to add up, especially the 6 blocks and the 4 steals. Big possession here for the Golden Flashes. Mincy at the point. This is Quintance. Smith. Floater won't go. McRoberts with a rebound. One and done the last several trips for the Golden Flashes.
And I think Smith has to be more determined to get the ball inside the paint to try to draw the foul instead of just merely get the shot off.
What a tip by McRoberts. He was right there in a beautiful pass.
Well, you talk about confidence. Late in the first half and throughout parts of the second half, we were talking about the Kent State confidence. Well, now you see the confidence of Duke brimming.
Jump shot by Armand Gates. He has 5. A very good pure shooter.
Well, he's the leading scorer on this team, and obviously he has to step up. Hasn't really been himself.
Duke calls a timeout, 4:31 to go in the game, up by 8.
Again, we talk about confidence brimming, and DeMarcus Nelson, just a little eye contact, knowing that your man is going to be there where you throw it. A lot of that comes from playing together for a long time. And last year, DeMarcus Nelson spent just a few minutes playing with Josh McRoberts.
Yeah, not all that much. I mean, DeMarcus Nelson is one of those kids who has had an injury-riddled career at Duke. This has been the first year he has actually been healthy and been able to show what he can do, and he is a tremendous athlete to start with.
Well, certainly in preseason and during the season, they've had an opportunity to play together. But Josh McRoberts, again, has finally broken out in my mind. He's had some good games against some teams throughout, but there have been other games when he's pretty much disappeared. And he's had a line like this on more than one occasion, but I'm talking about dominance of a game, and that's how he can dominate a game. Sometimes he's unselfish to a fault, and certainly he puts forth the effort, but he's got to be able to focus on giving his team what they need. Tonight they needed his inside scoring, they needed his defense and rebounding, and the assists were absolutely a bonus, recognizing the double teams and getting into the open man.
Well, he leads this club in assists. Shire, who had a great first half shooting and scoring.
You know, it's amazing. He leads the team in assists when he's got a point guard who led the conference in assists last year.
McRoberts off balance, had it blocked. Ahead of the pack, Omni Smith got himself under control and scores 67-61. They're not done yet.
Yeah, let's leave the dirt before we throw it on them. Let's hold it in the shovel for a second.
Well, we haven't even inscribed the marker, let alone started filling in the hole. 3:52 to go in this one, and Omni Smith with a career high. Kent State players talked about coming in here, having the opportunity to play Duke on national television after growing up watching Duke play here at Cameron Indoor and enjoying the experience and not being emotionally overwhelmed by it. And certainly they have not been intimidated by this ball club, especially not if you can sneak your way into the crazy section and stay there.
Remember, this is the holidays and exams, and a lot of students are gone.
That must be the golden flash, Lynn.
I don't know what to say.
Better left unsaid, perhaps.
How to be back in college.
Yes.
Because you're not held accountable for that stuff.
McRoberts, contact and a whistle, and a foul. Got a timeout on the floor. 3:38 to go in a 6-point game.
Half minute, guys.
That would be huge. This would be huge. For a while, it looked like Kent State not only had a shot, it looked like they were going to do it. Right now, they have to come back down by 6. And Josh McRoberts, the first player in Duke history, get this, with 4 more blocks, steals, assists, rebounds, and points in a single game. How many guys have played here who have been All-Americans and Players of the Year, and he's the first one who ever did it?
A lot of guys that have been here have been specialists, but again, you talk about versatility, and you talk about a guy who can find ways to dominate a game, and now that he has found it, he's got to maintain it.
Got inside, basket and a foul. 18 points, huge second half from McRoberts.
And I'm not talking about maintaining just in this game, but Josh McRoberts needs to know just how good he is, and he's got to bring it every night.
And this is why, when you see him play like this is why people say when he only has 5 points and 5 rebounds, what's wrong with McRoberts?
Exactly.
Because he shows you that ability. 19 tonight, the lead is up to 9. Every possession now becomes critical for Kent State. And Omni Smith and Quaintance, or I knew I was going to get that wrong again, Quintance are going to have to lead the charge. Paulus, great steal, out of bounds, out to Duke. Greg Paulus, excellent defense. And he comes up limping a little bit.
Now this is where Duke smells weakness right now, recognizing the anxiety of the Kent State 5 out there on the floor. They're going to take some chances. The strip by Paulus started that scramble.
Remember, Paulus was an All-American high school quarterback, so he can take the contact.
Look at that handle by McRoberts behind his back out in the open floor.
He's pretty good with the ball. 2:52 and counting.
And Duke is going to work clock now and got their best ball handlers out there.
DeMarcus Nelson directing traffic. Shire is held by Smith. That's Smith's second foul. Well, you got a feel for a kid like Smith who comes in here, Lenny, and has the game of his life trying to pull an upset for his club. And it looks like right now they're going to come up just a little bit short, but he can be proud of what he's done.
Well, he certainly can. Again, he was the spark that carried this team. This is a guy who violated some team rules, suffered a 2-game suspension, and since then, coming into this game, over the last 3 games that he played since the suspension, he was averaging 13 points and 4 assists, shooting 50% from the field. He's improved on that drastically in this game.
Shire hits a couple of free throws. Good back-to-back games for him. He has 17 tonight, and the lead's up to 11. Smith, high off the glass and got another one. Smith has increased his career high again, 28 points tonight. He's been virtually unstoppable at times.
Again, Duke looking to spread the floor, create big-time spacing, knowing that Kent State has to come to them, and they're just going to move it around and try to hit the open man, force Kent State to run.
McClure nearly lost it in the double team. Shot clock at 12. Duke just trying to bleed every second off of it. Paulus, nice drive. Can't hit the shot. He did everything but finish the play. Smith back the other way, double team, good feet inside for the layup. Scott with the basket. It's 72-65. The Golden Flashes refuse to fold. And there's plenty of time left. Kent State trying to get a historic win. Bob Knight trying to do the same thing. So many faces. He can be volatile, he can be warm, he can be explosive or calm. No matter what the behavior, there's always that unshakable belief in himself and forever defiant of the critics, unaffected by doubt. He expressed himself with actions and words throughout his career as clearly as any public figure of his generation. Whether you like Bobby Knight or not, you know exactly who he is, or do you? I like Bobby Knight, always have. And he will have a chance when he wins 2 more games to stand atop the pinnacle of coaching as the man who has won more games than anybody else. I think the only way you can judge somebody fairly is the way they have treated you, and Bob Knight always treated me as fairly as anybody could, and I've always respected the guy.
Well, right now we're talking about his place in basketball history, and if you judge him on results, you know, not just the wins, but also on the people that he's produced, you know, the type of citizens he's produced.
Absolutely.
And the amount of guys who graduated, and the fact that he never cheated, never been caught with a violation, NCAA probation.
Never even thought of a violation, let alone committed one.
In the end, I mean, you've got to give him his props. The other stuff, you have to separate it. You're talking more about the person than accomplishment.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the best line he's ever had. Somebody asked him once, are there things you regret in your career? And the answer was an instant, I regretted it before the chair was halfway across the floor. Thought it was a tremendous response. Smith. 30 for Omni Smith. He has been brilliant. The clock now Duke's friend. Shire had it taken away. Smith again. Paulus is back from behind. Shire knocked it away. And then Paulus bounces it off Smith's knee.
And look at Jim Christian talking to the official on the strip. But remember, there was a strip similar to that to Shire earlier in this half, and there was no call.
That would have been a huge call, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it certainly would have. And, you know, officials are calling it even, at least as far as the strips are concerned.
And that's all you can ask.
Right.
You want it consistent and you want it even. Outside of that, you pays your money and you takes your chances. Paulus double team foul. Quintance. That's 4 on him.
And Kent State recognizing that time is running out. They're just trying to swarm Paulus, make him turn it over. Quintance with the reach. But in the end, it's not a bad foul. You make your attempts and you put people on the line. Hopefully you get a few misses and you can convert.
Paulus, a very good free throw shooter, 87.5%. He's 2 for 2 tonight.
And if you got to put him on the line, he's the only one that's handling it right now.
Marcus Nelson is the other guy they like to have the ball, but he is only a 64% free throw shooter.
That's why Paulus is
That's exactly right. Which you get Shire in there too. Shire's a good free throw shooter. Traditionally, Duke's always had 2 or 3 guys at the end of a game on a court that you wouldn't mind seeing going to the free throw. And Paulus brings them both. The lead back to 7. Now you've got to trade 3 for 2.
Or a quick 2. Right now, at the pace Smith is going, you may not be able to get that. There's a quick pass inside, looking for the quick 2.
Gates was open for 3. Smith will try it from long range. A little too long, perhaps, and DeMarcus Nelson with a rebound.
Now you got to foul him.
And they make the foul call, and Singletary was really upset with it.
He thought he had a jump ball, a tie-up situation.
So did I. That'll be 5 on the freshman from Chicago.
You try for the 1 steal. You don't get it. You got to stop the clock. That's a foul.
He got the wrist. Had the ball, then got the wrist. 74-67. The freshman has gone with 11 points and 7 boards. That's the young man, in case you missed it earlier, who was off to Missouri before the change in that program and decided then to come to Kent State. Missouri and Illinois coming up. Tip-off set at 9:10. We'll get you out there as soon as possible. We have 50.1 to go here. And Duke, it looks like, will extend its non-conference winning streak at home to 49 games in a row.
Well, DeMarcus Nelson stands poised to take Duke's 27th free throw attempt. They've hit 18 out of 26 thus far. Kent State, on the other hand, only 4 of 9. Quite the discrepancy.
You really sound like you left something unsaid there, Mr. Elmore.
No, well, you know, a lot of it has to do, look, you're home.
Or are you just pointing out the numbers?
I'm pointing out the numbers.
Okay.
But the home team usually, in many instances, gets the benefit of the doubt.
That's
and
true.
What we have said throughout this game, that the officials have done a pretty darn good job.
And Duke's style of play usually gets them more free throws.
Right.
The people they play against.
Look at the inside game. You know, McRoberts, Zubek, other guys on the blocks, as well as the attack by Nelson to the basket.
Now, DeMarcus Nelson called for a silly foul there. He was pressuring Omni Smith coming up court.
Yeah.
But maybe not so silly after all. That was only the 4th team foul. My apologies.
Oh, they've got plenty.
They've got 2 more to waste. And DeMarcus Nelson's going to be all over him and commits another foul. And Mike Krzyzewski is up saying, well, that's 5. You got 1 more. So they make him waste 4 or 5 seconds off the clock, commit a foul that results in no shots, and then give him the ball back. That's just outstanding coaching, as you might expect. Smith. Loose ball, and DeMarcus Nelson brings it down. 31 seconds to go, and he is fouled by Omni Smith, who looks like he's starting to really grab for oxygen right now. What a night for that young man. Tremendous effort on his part. 30 points. 30 of the 67.
He was their go-to guy from beginning right up until the end. You know, once he demonstrated he had the hot hand, you give Kent State a lot of credit for getting the ball in positions where he could be successful. But he did some things that, you know, he wasn't normally known for. He loves the jump shot off the screen. Can use it a little bit off the bounce. Jim Christian told me he didn't have a lot of guys who could take people off the bounce. But Omni Smith has demonstrated that he can do it, and I guarantee you going forward, that's going to be another aspect of this Kent State offense.
So they have played 3 ranked teams this year. They've lost to all 3, but been very competitive, certainly against Duke and against Butler. They went to double overtime before they lost, 77-67. And there is the 6th team foul, and now Mike Krzyzewski signaling no more. We're at 7. We'll be at 7, so no more fouls. Duke will go to 10-1 with the meat of their schedule lying ahead.
And the luxury of not being in a penalty up until now for Duke is the fact that any momentum that Kent State wanted to develop, they killed by forcing to inbound the ball again and running a new play.
Smith, can he add to it? He does. 33 points. What a brilliant night for Omni Smith. He has been omnipresent.
Well, even in defeat, stars can be born. And Omni Smith serving notice, particularly for the Mid-America Conference, that he is to be reckoned with.
He's hit 5 out of 8 from long range tonight, Len. Coming into the game for the season, he was 3 for 11. $33 big ones. once again, Duke had certain things exposed. And once again, they came back in the second half, covered up the flaws, and played much better than they did in the first half. That's why they're going to win this game. Missouri and Illinois coming up. And this is when Mike Krzyzewski had seen enough of a defense that had given up 2 or 3 wide open jump shots. And they're challenging his team. And from that point on, they seem to play with more emotion. Paulus against the double team and gets the timeout with 12 seconds to go. Jay Billis has a good seat, doesn't he?
Is he among the crazies or is he in the VIP section?
Well, he's like you. You know, he went through law school, so he doesn't qualify as a crazy, does he?
He's behind the bench.
I mean, once you go through law school, you can't be a crazy, can you?
Or you can be a designated crazy. You have to be crazy to go to law school.
Well, that may be it. That may be it.
I guess that's the release after exams. Tough exam period. Light yourself up like it
must have been a tough exam. I didn't need a release like that in 4 years. Shire trying to get it down court. Picked off with 7 seconds to go and a foul against Duke. And Mike Krzyzewski is not going to be pleased with the execution that Duke has shown in parts of the end of this game.
Well, particularly not with that play. I mean, regardless of the turnover, the foul which stops the clock gives Kent State an opportunity to put points on the board. You know, the door is open ever so slightly. 7 seconds left. They knock this down. They're down 5. You know, we've seen miracles happen in college basketball. So there's a sliver of light, and that's what Mike probably has to talk about later on. The fact that you got to slam the door when you have a chance.
77-71. And really, there was no excuse for that turnover for Shire, because if he floats that ball high up in the air, there's no way it can be blocked. He just got a little careless with it.
But again, they would have to take time off the clock to score. Now, a steal or two.
Now here's Paulus. And he's fouled with 3.1 seconds to go. That was the last gasp for Kent State. Well, you got to take their hat off to them. They came in here hoping to make a statement, because those so-called mid-major teams know every time they play somebody like Duke, it's a chance to make a statement not only for their program but for the conference and other mid-majors. It just gives them more respect from people in the media and eventually people on the committee who are going to be, you know, choosing teams to go to the NCAA.
And it's also the quality of their play. What it's going to do is going to open up the opportunities for some of the so-called major conferences to play these mid-majors either on a neutral site or even at their place.
Right.
And that really is the essence of all the arguments and controversy about last year's tournament selection and the increase in the numbers of mid-majors among the 65 teams. You know, a lot of people didn't think it was warranted, but these teams can play.
79-72, and they came in here and gave it a real shot, but Duke wins its 10th and the 49th against non-conference teams. Final score 79-72, post-game extra on ESPN News. Now, for Len Elmore, this is Mike Patrick. Let's go back to Dave Revson. Dave.
Thank you, Mike.